Let's do it.
Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat. I'm Danielle McFadden, president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, and this Inside Lowell podcast is coming to you from the Wellpoint studios. Wellpoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At Wellpoint, your whole health is their whole point. I'm very excited to have our guest on with us today. I'm so excited that I have been rambling for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
We have Jean Phelps, the CEO of Incompass Human Services, on today. How are you?
I'm good, Danielle. It's good to see you, and thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
for
it.
coming and bringing some swag. So your Chief Marketing Officer, he's in the background, but
Yeah.
it's Dan Esdale, and he is the chair of the Chamber Board right now. Everything is always full circle.
It is very much so.
And you've had a lot going on.
Yeah, a bit.
A little bit of news.
bit,
Would you like
yeah.
to talk about that?
Sure. So we bought a building, and we're really, really, really excited about it. So June 18th, we closed on the purchase of 4 Omni Way in Chelmsford, which actually,
Beautiful building.
so it's not a new home for us. It's our old home that we've made I think the fabulous decision to invest in the Chelmsford community, and we bought a building, and we bought the building that we've been in now for the last, since, as I checked this morning, since 2017. So,
It's amazing.
yeah, and it was a little scary because it was the biggest purchase we've ever made as an organization. But it's really exciting because of the opportunities that it's going to present us going forward.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're proud parents of a new building.
Yeah, when you make an investment in the building now, you
Yeah.
know it's like you're
Yeah.
investing in your home,
Yeah.
which is great.
It's about we've talked about it being a sort of a testament to putting down roots and sort of planting
Yeah.
our flag and saying this has been Greater Lowell has been our home forever and ever and ever, and this just sort of solidifies it. It provides, because there is a bit of square footage that's not used in the building. It gives us opportunities to grow and
Yeah.
to do some things differently. It gives us capacity to expand as we bring on more employees, because our service network is starting to get bigger, and we're doing more robust things. We made a really good business deal, and I'm not going to go into the details of that, but we have equity in this building on day one, which helps
Wow,
us
that's
in terms,
huge.
yes. It helps us in terms of sort of positioning the organization for stability going into the future. It immediately saves us money because what we're paying on the mortgage for the building is much less than what we were paying in rent. So again, it's
Wow.
allowing us to redivert some resources back into the organization to do some stuff that otherwise we might not be able to do in terms of growth and change. So I don't know, that was like a half a dozen reasons why this was like a really, really good thing to do, and that
Absolutely.
far outweighed. I mean, I think one of the things that we saw as a challenge is this is, we have entered into some really uncharted waters, and very rough waters for private nonprofit organizations right now, and especially organizations that support people with significant challenges, and organizations that are heavily funded through government sources. So we did a lot of soul searching as to whether or not was this the right point in time for Encompass to take this leap and make this happen for us right now. And the reasons to do it far outweighed the reasons not to. And I think because we've got this commitment to make sure that we're here for the long haul and for the people who we support now and the people who we want to be supporting in the future, this building helps us achieve that goal. So we're super excited.
That is very exciting. Let's talk about your history with the organization and then what the organization does for the community.
So my history, I can't even believe this, but so I started at what was then Lifelinks back in September of 2008. So what's that now? 17 years, 18 years. Which is a really long time for me personally to be in any organization. I sort of get the 7-year itch. My claim to fame is I kind of go in, I look at organizations, I put them on the right path, and then that takes a bit of time. And then after I've done my thing, I kind of move on. And that was sort of the trajectory of my career. That didn't happen with what was then Lifelings and what has now become Encompass. For me, this became this like passion job in terms
Mhm.
of being able to sort of exercise my skills as a leader and bring in some fabulous members to be on the team with me and to lead this organization. So that's how I ended
Wow.
up being here for
It's
as long
amazing.
as I've been. And I've got a few more years in me. And then I'm thinking about, okay, what's the post, quote unquote, post retirement career going to look like? But we've we've seen I've seen the organization grow and change. Certainly it wasn't all because of me, but we started out in 2008 with 16 group homes. We were about a $12 million, we had about a $12 million budget. We had a couple of hundred staff, barely. We were in the administrative offices were in an old school building on one side of Lowell, and then the day program and some of our services were on 55 Middlesex Street on the
Hmm.
other side of Lowell, so we had to go over the Rourke Bridge if we wanted to see each other.
Wow.
So, we've seen the organization grow and change. Now we're at, well, we're 40 million plus. We've got an affiliation or two under our belt, so that actually even makes us a little bit larger. So all in, we're about $68 million. We have almost 700 staff.
Wow.
I don't know exactly where we sit in the pantheon of provider organizations and corporations in the Greater Lowell area, but I think we are probably within the top 10 size for employers in the Greater Lowell area because we're this kind of small but really mighty organization so the money that we're investing in the community through the purchase of the building, but also just sort of our purchasing power and the staff that we hire. We're this little engine that's kind of kicking away in the background of the Greater Lowell community, doing our thing. And that's really exciting to see that progression now
Yeah.
over all these years. And we've got lots of opportunities, challenges as well on the horizon that we think are going to position us pretty well for the next probably 3 to 5 years. We've got a strategic plan that's going to um, start winding out around 2008. We're about halfway through it now. We've hit some really big goals. Buying the building was not in the strategic plan, so
Wow.
we're
You're just
taking
like,
that
we're
as a
just
win.
gonna add an
Yeah.
extra huge thing in there.
So again, it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool.
So, for those of you listening, viewing, could you tell them what you do, what some of the
Sure.
programs are, and then you can talk about some of
Sure.
those opportunities and
Yeah.
challenges that you mentioned?
So we started out years and years and years ago as the Greater Lowell Association for Retarded Children. And then we became the Greater Lowell Association for Retarded Citizens because our kiddos grew up. And the ARC movement began in the early 1950s, and it was born out of families who had kids with
Mhm.
disabilities who were sort of being turned away from accessing the community
Yep.
by the entities that existed in the community. So parents were taking their kids to elementary school to register them for school and were being told your child can't come here because we have no way to educate your child. Your child can't be in this social group because we have no way to support your child. So the ARC movement grew out of families who had those kids with disabilities who wanted them to have a life in the community that looked like the life that everybody else's kid was having. And it's a really very simple, but yet very noble mission that continues to be our mission all these years later. So even as Encompass Human Services, we still are an ARC. We're associated with the ARC of the United States. We continue to provide that same commitment to connect people
Mhm.
to their communities despite whatever challenges they might have as a result of a diagnosis that might mean they have an intellectual disability, they have a physical disability, they have autism, they have um, acquired brain injury, um, and there's sort of a whole subset of other things in terms of who we serve. But that's the population of people who, for now almost 70 years, we have served at
Wow.
Encompass, and we support them by providing them with places to live in the community, places to work in the community, services to help them learn and grow in the community. And that's what we do in our day habilitation and our community-based day supports. We support families who keep their family members at home. We send staff into family homes. We support people to engage with their community through social and recreational activities. We support people to just learn, grow, and thrive as valued members of society. And again, it doesn't feel like it's a really, fancy thing that we do, but it's really very impactful and powerful work because the options for this population, were it not for organizations like Encompass and what we do, would be a life of separation, of shelter, of potentially institutionalization. It would mean not having connections to other people in the community, not having friends, not having a social life. And that's what we stand between, is that really kind of very sad, lonely existence and having a full and amazing life in the community. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
That's incredible. It's a big nutshell.
It's a big nutshell.
And you
It's a
talked
big
about
nutshell.
some opportunities and
Yeah. So opportunities. I think one of the things that for me has been pretty amazing, and I kind of alluded to it, is the organization has grown and changed a lot over the 17, 18, 20 years. And we still continue to see opportunities to provide services and supports to people in new and varied ways. Our sort of legacy services, which is that big day and residential piece, continues to be something that we're going to continue to offer long into the future. But we need to think about ways to do that. Those are really very staff intensive, very costly services to operate. So we're trying to provide and find options to provide more individualized services for people that cost a little bit less and maybe are a bit easier to manage, at least for the individuals and the families. So we're exploring options for different kinds of services. We're also, because I've got this really great communications and marketing guy who sort of helps us out, we're looking at ways to recruit people to come into this work and work for us and do some creative things, as well as find individuals and families who need services from us to come to us and, be able to experience sort of new and different things. Challenges, and there are many. And I think what's important in this current space that we find ourselves is to not sort of get ahead of yourself in terms of getting panicked about the potential changes that could be coming. Because of who we are and because of what we do, the vast majority of our funding comes from state and federal sources. And so we are uncertain about what the Medicaid changes that are being proposed are going to look like for us. There's no crystal ball right now that says this is what it's going to be like. But we do know that our population of people who we support will get caught up in that, whether directly or indirectly, based on what we're hearing from Washington in terms of what was put into the bill that got passed and sort of what the results of that are going to be for us. We're not going to feel the effects of that probably for about a year, but when we do, we need to be ready for those, because we need to make sure that people who come to us who receive Medicaid funding continue to get that funding, because it's those Medicaid dollars that pay us to be able to do what we do. The other piece about the challenge is that because of this system that we work in, and even though we are, potentially one of the largest employers in Lowell, and we've got this, huge buying capacity, we are contracted with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for the most part to provide our services, and our rates, whether it's with the Department of Developmental Services or Mass Ability or any of the other state agencies or through Mass Health, those are set by the state. So we don't have the ability to go back, hey, we need more money, we're going to raise our rates. What we get is what we get. So we have to be very, very creative with the money that comes to us to make sure that we spend it wisely. Again, going back to why we bought the building, because that saves us some money in the long run, and it creates stability for us from a budgetary standpoint. We know what our facilities costs are going to be in that building for the next 20 years for the term of the mortgage, right? So that for us, actually, it's good management practice, because it settled for us a question in terms of what's it going to cost us to stay in the space providing the services that we're providing.
Yeah, what stability. That's
Right.
great.
Yeah.
In an unstable
In a
environment.
very unstable
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah. Well, you, I mean, are doing such incredible work. I'm glad that you're here talking about it.
Thank you.
It's,
I'm here. I'm glad that we get to talk about it too, because I
yeah.
think not a lot of people know what it is that I think people know of us. I think our brand, our logo, who we are. We're 5 years into being Encompass. And
Wow.
I think the community has this sense of us. I know our neighbors in Chelmsford know of us. I know our neighbors in all of our residential homes. And there's many now. There's 22 different residential sites across Greater
It's
Lowell.
incredible.
But I think unless you have a family member who has an intellectual disability and you're in this service world, you don't really understand the importance of this work that we do and how important it is that we keep people connected to their communities.
Absolutely. For people listening or watching, are there ways that they can get involved?
Sure. There's a bunch of different ways. First and foremost, if you think you would like to receive services or need services, go through our website, call, contact, whatever, and we can help steer you in the right direction in
Great.
terms of getting you the services and supports that you might need. A lot of our referrals do come directly through the Department of Developmental Services and other state agencies, but we're happy to talk to anybody,
Great.
especially if there's a need. No one should be sitting at home for lack of information about where to go to get services. So we're happy to connect with people and point them in the direction of services. On the business side, we love to connect with other businesses in the Greater Lowell area. We're looking to grow opportunities for employment and community engagement for the people who attend, specifically our day services. We have people who are ready, willing, and able to work. And I know that there are companies and corporations in the Greater Lowell area who would like to maybe engage with us around that. So that's another place where we can make those connections. There are opportunities to volunteer. We're always looking for good board members. It's not like we're constantly recruiting for board members, but we're looking for people who have sort of a dedication and a commitment and a passion to support this population, but also bring skill sets in terms of banking and finance and real estate, because those are the things that peripherally touch us in terms of the work that we're doing. So we're always looking
Great.
for board members. There's probably a million and other ways that
Donating
people could
money.
connect. Donating money, yes. You can always, we never say no to money. We never say no to time either. If people want to make a commitment of time, talent,
Yeah,
and treasure to us,
absolutely.
we are more than willing to encourage that. And there's a couple of fun things that we do. If you want to donate money and have fun doing it, the first Saturday in May we hold a Kentucky Derby party. I know it's weird. What does the Kentucky Derby have to do with this organization? We call our staff care champions. That's a whole nother story. We can spend hours talking about that. But we have this event that kind of celebrates champions, and what's the biggest event in the country that, kind of focuses on champions, and you think about horse racing and being in it for the long haul. And it's this really fun way to bring people together to celebrate who we are as an organization and to have a heck of a lot of fun doing it. So I would invite people to keep their eyes and ears open for, our media blast around, hey, the Kentucky Derby is coming, and it's always the first Saturday in May, so you can always put it on your calendar and always be there. We do fundraising appeals. This year it will be, towards the end of the year in December. We sponsor a holiday party for the individuals who we support. Our friends at Lindsay's are the best partner in that.
Great.
They are amazing. Shout out to Michael Lindsay and his crew. We've worked with them for years, 20, 30 almost years, I think, in terms of making sure that party happens for our folks. So again, lots of deep connections into the Greater Lowell community that we want to continue to foster, and there's lots of opportunity for people to connect with us on those as well.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we missed? I mean, I know we could talk for hours, but for the sake of this podcast.
I think for the sake of this podcast, I've probably said enough, except First of all, thank you to you. Thank you to the Greater Lowell community for, writ large, being our champions for many, many, many years. To be doing what we've been doing for over 70 years, and to know that the people who are connected to us really do value and trust the work that we do. And that public trust is probably the most important thing that we carry. And so that to me is, that to me is, I almost can't even speak to it because it's pretty powerful that we've been doing this for as long as we have. So thank you for the opportunity to tell our story a little bit, and I'm happy to be back at any point in time
Well,
to
we will
talk
take you up
further.
on that, and I'll make sure I have my hat on. And congratulations on the
Thank you.
building. Very
Thank you so
exciting.
much. We're so excited.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And thank you all for tuning in to another edition of Chamber Chat. We'll be back again soon. I might not have such nice swag with me. We'll see. We'll see who's listening. Thanks. Bye.